Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We're going to open our meeting. First off, we have the attendance. All members are present. Okay, before you, you have the minutes of the January 23rd, no, of February 27th meeting. Does anyone make a motion to accept the minutes?
I had just a couple corrections. My last name was spelled about 3 different ways. So just get the right one in there. And other than that, I was fine with it.
Oh.
So
So they're all right or they're all wrong?
everyone else was good. I think it was just me. I got the funny name. So
Okay.
But-
All right.
if there's no other objections, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes with the requested changes.
We need a second.
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved with the change of the correct spelling. Okay, this evening we have one request, and Patrick is going to make the presentation for that request.
Okay, first, I can confirm that notification was given per KRS 100 requirements. And before we get started on the staff report, are there any declarations of conflicts among any board members?
None noted.
And any declarations of a site visit?
Nope. Nope.
Okay. And thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And for the record, I am Patrick Denbo. I'm Senior Planner with PDS staff. I would first like to submit the staff report, the presentation, and the submitted materials for the record.
Very good. Thank you.
And this is a request for a conditional use permit to allow a non-owner occupied short-term rental within the residential mixed-use zone, which is the RM zoning district. So the site in question is approximately 0.22 acres. It is occupied by a 2-family residential dwelling. There are 2 addresses associated with this site. It's 453 and 455 Silver Lake Avenue. So this request is noted as being for the 453 side, which does contain 2 bedrooms. The surrounding area consists of a mixture of single-family, 2-family, and multifamily dwellings. So again, the site is currently zoned RM, which is that residential mixed. That is the same to the northeast and south of the property. Areas to the west are zoned single-family residential. And the existing land use really reflects that the zoning districts in that the property is shown as a 2-family. Most of the surrounding properties are also currently 2-family residential, and then with areas to the north and west being either vacant or single-family. This is an image of the subject property. This was taken from Google Street View. As you can see, the home is a 2-family dwelling unit. Each unit has a separate driveway with an attached garage space. 453 is the unit on the left side in this image. So again, non-owner occupied short-term rentals are listed as a conditional use within the zoning district, as shown in the table of uses in the Erlanger zoning ordinance. There are a number of use-specific standards that all short-term rentals, whether they're owner-occupied or non-owner-occupied, have to follow. These include that the maximum length of each stay can't be any more than 29 days. No lease shall be rented for less than one night's stay. There shall be no exterior evidence of the use other than that the address must be visible from the street. Short-term rentals shall not adversely affect the character of the neighborhood, and they shall not generate noise, vibration, glare, odors, or other effects that are unreasonably interfere with any person's enjoyment of his or her property. And then short-term rentals are permitted in the primary structure and one accessory dwelling unit where permitted. Of course, this isn't a primary structure. Short-term rentals shall not be located in mobile homes, recreational vehicles. Basically, they must be in a structure that is typically used as a residence, which of course is true in this case. Then this is just an image zoomed in on the front porch, showing that the address is clearly visible from the street. Clearly visible, the image is a little washed out, but it is there on the upper left side of that doorway. There are parking requirements for this type of use. The parking requirements are one off-street parking space per guest room, plus one off-street parking space for the caretaker. The regulations do also note that permitted on-street parking that is directly in front of and adjacent to the zoning lot can count towards fulfilling the parking requirements. So in this case, there are two off-street parking spaces located within the driveway and one off-street parking space located inside the attached garage. Additionally, there is one off-street parking space that is located on the street, on-street parking space located directly in front of the subject address. So the applicant would be meeting the parking requirements in this case. The applicant submitted a submission letter. The submission letter indicates that the applicant's intent to adhere to any taxes and fees for small businesses, their intent to adhere to all regulations of the city and the state. They state that they will only have one employee, which is the caretaker. They state that they will have varying hours of operation. Of course, this is a rental-based operation. Statements that declaring that they will have the off-street parking requirements met, and that it is the applicant's intent to screen all tenants. So section 13.8 of the Erlanger zoning ordinance states that the Board of Adjustment shall have the power to hear and decide applications for conditional use permits in compliance with all applicable sections of KRS 100. So KRS 100 provides, again, that the board has the power to hear and decide applications for conditional use permits to allow the proper integration into the community of uses only if certain conditions are met. The board may approve, modify, or deny any application. If the board approves such a permit, it may attach necessary requirements that one or more things be done before the request can be initiated. Any such conditions shall be recorded in the minutes and be placed on the conditional use permit. So staff is providing a favorable recommendation on this conditional use request with two recommended conditions. One, that only one of the dwelling units of the two-family dwelling operate as a short-term rental at any given time, and that the property owner or operator of the short-term rental have their primary residence in the adjacent dwelling unit whenever the other dwelling unit is operating as a short-term rental. So as a basis for this recommendation, all applications for short-term rentals are required to meet the use-specific standards, which have been adopted to ensure the proper integration into the community. In addition, the application as conditioned will ensure the suitability of the specific location for the requested use. Additionally, the subject has indicated the intent to follow all requirements of the site, and the site will meet all physical requirements as set forth within the ordinance. So at this time, I would be happy to take any questions of the staff report, and I would call your attention to, or just note, that there is an attachment A that staff has provided with some sample motions for your consideration.
Does anyone have any questions for Patrick? Nope.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, one other thing to bring to everyone's attention. I was contacted via an email, and we have to keep everything as an open records. In order to share this, I need to share this email with everyone. This is not necessarily my opinion one way or the other, but this email I received the other day, I'll go ahead and read it now. It's from a Councilwoman Vicki Kyle. Presently on City Council, and would like to voice my opinion on a property at 453 Silver Lake. I would prefer the BOA not approve the conditional use of a short-term rental on this property. Covington has placed a 6-month pause on short-term rentals. They're experiencing lots of problems with short-term rentals, including reduced availability of affordable housing. Short-term rentals can transform residential neighborhoods into commercial lodging areas, and increase complaints about parking and traffic. Owners of these properties don't live in these neighborhoods and only judge the quality of their investments by the dollar return, regardless of the impact on the neighborhood. Not to mention the extra work that results with the police and fire departments. Sometimes the arguments that the renters are screened with evaluations, but that can be bypassed. The precautions registered with a different name. Could you please express my opinions and views to the BOA members for me, since I can't attend this meeting? Thank you for your service, Vicki Kyle. So I needed to put that in the open records so that, you know, I received this and everyone is aware of that. Okay, so who's going to speak for or against this? Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Would you please stand at the podium and make your presentation?
So to follow off what he said, and to follow off the email that you said you got as a rebuttal towards that, how she said that people just are looking at it as an investment and whatnot. I live right next door to the unit. I live in 455, so it's not something that I'm looking forward or looking as, oh, I just bought this place because I didn't buy it. I'm going through the owners of it to try to bring something around here that can encompass everything that Northern Kentucky Life has to offer, and bring that to people who are trying to come here and see different things that we have to offer between festivals and art, different museums and whatnot that we have here.
Very good. As mentioned, that wasn't my opinion one way or the other, so, but
Yeah.
You have every right to reply upon it.
And then another rebuttal, like she said, as far as like the screening and whatnot, another reason, I live next door, so I mean, I'm gonna see who's going in and out. I have cameras over the whole entire property, so it's not like people are gonna be sneaking in and out of the house, and it's not gonna be who they say. So as far as the screening and who goes in there, it's gonna be very cautious, like I said. But as far as the rest of the stuff that he went over, Patrick here, I don't really have a whole lot to follow up off of that, besides reiterating that all requirements that you guys have stated throughout the different codes and whatnot will be followed, and any problems, if there was any, will be dealt with however they needed to be dealt with.
Okay. I have a question. Now, say we approve this And, okay, then we approve this for the short-term rental. As presently, the owners has him, you're living next door and you're overseeing this property, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the future, if things change, you move out, go on to something else, and they still have the property. Now what do we do with this,
Understandable.
with this conditional use?
Sure. So one of our suggested conditions is that the owner or operator reside in the adjacent dwelling unit whenever, at any time, when the short-term or when the other rental unit is offered a short-term rental. So that is one of our suggested conditions.
Okay, that is favorable with you. How about the owners? Is that going to be favorable?
Yeah, because the conditional use permit stays with him, so he leaves with him, and both sides.
Yeah, normally, it stays with the property. So once he leaves, once that shuts down, then that gets revoked somehow from the property, correct? Okay. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that for everyone.
Can I clarify one thing, Patrick? When you said that, so for 453 to be used as a short-term rentals, someone has to permanently reside in 455. Permanently reside means what if they're out on vacation that week? But it is their primary residence, but they're just not there during that rental. Is that
Right,
okay, or is that?
That's right. That is not something that we are concerned with as far as the condition. So we're just stating that it is their primary residence to reside in that other address next door.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any other comments, questions?
I had a question. Why, I'm familiar with Airbnb and how it works. Why Airbnb that location and not have a full-time renter?
Well, for my spot where I'm at, I was not able to go somewhere and go purchase a duplex or whatever the case would be. So I worked out a deal where I was doing rental arbitrage through it. I'm familiar with the area. I was born and raised around Erlanger, so this is like my home and roots. I know that this is a good area to be if you're wanting to go downtown to either Cincinnati or Covington or anything like that. So I knew that it'd be a good spot for that. And as far as that specific property, like I said, I was able to kind of broker a deal where I was able to get something without having to purchase an entire property.
So, I'm sorry, I wanted to clarify, I didn't get your name at first.
My name is Bailey Haddix.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
And you're not the property owner, correct?
No, I am not.
Okay. You'll be the caretaker?
Yes,
Okay.
the property owners are over here.
I think we've got that clarified. Anything else? Questions? Okay, then I believe a motion's in order. Would someone like to make a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may want to ask if there's anyone else to speak.
I thought I had what asking, I wasn't just asking the board. Does anyone else want to speak? Yeah. Okay. I thought I had included that. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Okay. Okay. And we've-
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that. Thanks. All right, we have a motion.
I think if we could just maybe have some general discussion, because I have mixed emotions.
Okay.
Um,
So,
I think, Airbnb, you usually hear the more negative than the positive. And for the councilwoman's comments, that's what I'm more familiar with. But at the same time, I think these type of situations should be evaluated on a case-by-case basis, and I'm glad this one is. The fact that it is a joint unit where there is an operator, somebody present, or allegedly will be present during the time of these rentals, that makes me a little more comfortable. But I don't know, that's just some of my thoughts. Anybody have a?
Each and every one of these that comes up will have to be a conditional use. There's no set.
Right, if it's
regulations,
so-
so-
denied, it's not a swooping
Yeah,
decision.
Not a
It's-
swooping
right.
decision. We're not saying that, any neighborhood can have a Airbnb. So. Anyone else? Yeah. So,
Again, I'm still muddling it over. My personal opinions aside, the fact that there is nobody here to voice their opinion against it is making me kind of sway towards maybe giving an opportunity here. Not to say that you're going to set the standard for the rest of the city, but if it goes south, I think you know where we're all going to go moving forward. But I don't know. Again, mixed emotions on it, but I guess I'll make a motion if no one else has any further comments or anything else they want to say.
I think we're okay with everything. Looking for a motion.
All right, I'd like to make a motion file reference BOA 2302-0004. I move to approve the conditional use permit based on facts and the considerations contained in the staff report and based on the testimony of staff and witness present at the public hearing, subject to the following conditions: that only one dwelling unit of the two-family dwelling operate as a short-term rental at any given time, and number two, that the property owner or operator of the short-term rental have their primary residence in the adjacent dwelling unit whenever the other dwelling unit is operating as a short-term rental.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, I think we still have some business on our bylaws. Isn't that correct? Okay. We all received in our packet a copy of the bylaws. Do we have a motion to submit them into record? Or do we have some comments or changes?
I think wasn't the intent, just to clean it up. There wasn't anything, I went through it, drastic changes. It was just more administrative to make it neater, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of language being stricken, and that's language that's redundant. for things that are in KRS that spell out what Board of Adjustment processes are in KRS. So just to remove that redundant language, some of it was slightly outdated as well.
Right.
I think the appeals was part of that as well, wasn't it?
Yep.
The secretary issue's been decided. You lucked out, you didn't get voted in, you didn't have to take notes tonight. Why you- It's close. Okay, do we have a motion to accept these in the record? We have a
I'll second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Very good, that's taken care of. Anything else? We have two things coming up next month, so we shall have a meeting.
Yes, there will be a meeting in April. We have 2 items that were submitted, so that meeting will be April 24th.
Okay,
And then I also have to present to Mr. Armbruster
okay.
a 5-year service pin for 5 years of service.
Fantastic.
Thank you for your service.
You got the park? Okay, I think that'll do it this evening. So, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Very good. Thank you.